Hey guys, welcome to chapter 2. Excited to get started here on the campaign message. So, just want to let you know that this chapter is a real monster. It's a big one and probably some of the most important work that we will do together throughout this entire training. So, I'm looking forward to getting into it and I hope that you guys enjoy it. So as we said, chapter 2 is going to be all about the campaign message. So what do we mean by the campaign message? So it's really the way that I define campaign message here for our purposes is a little bit different and kind of wraps up a few different elements under one title here called the campaign message. So what I mean is the campaign message really it answers some of these questions, like who are you? What's your general outlook on the state of your community? What issues do you care about? What issues do you think are impacting your community? What values do you stand for? Who do you align with? What people do you align with? How do you solve problems? How do you go about approaching the issues that come to the forefront in your community? What specific problems are you going to be working on? So all of this is wrapped up in what I call the campaign message. And so how we're going to spend this chunk of the course is, as you can tell, it's going to be developing a way to articulate your values, where you stand on issues, the way you plan on approaching this job when you're elected. So all of this is going to be wrapped up into one big exercise. And we're going to approach it through the lens of issues that your campaign is likely to come across. So this sounds a bit nebulous right now. It will become a lot more clear as we dive into it. So try not to feel overwhelmed. So let me show you the lessons that we're going to dive into. So first, we'll talk about electoral dynamics, because this really shapes everything for your entire campaign. So this is, are we talking a primary? Is it a closed primary, open primary? Is it a top two nonpartisan race? Is it a general election? So we get into all of that and then provide some tips on how you should structure your campaign based on what type of race it is electoral wise. Then we'll talk about discovering the issues. So we all know that there's issues and you have to talk about them. Well, how do you figure out what those are? So we'll go through how to find them. And then lesson 3 is your issue positions. So we'll go through and I'll show you how to articulate your position on each issue and the best way to do that. And guys, we're going to be using a database that I developed for you guys to keep track of all these different issues. And it shows you, you input some data points in there, and it tells you, based on logic that I've built into this database, how to best talk about the issue. So it's really handy, and I'll walk you through step by step exactly how to use this. So lesson 4, we also have to prioritize what issues get talked about anyway. So we have inside of this database that I've built for you guys, there is some logic in there built in that also prioritizes the different issues. So it can really narrow it down for you and tell you what you can focus on. And then finally, lesson 5, we'll talk about the campaign message. So lesson 1, we'll talk about electoral dynamics. Lesson 2, we'll build a big giant list of issues. That's what we're going to be doing. Lesson 3, we'll talk about how to articulate your position on each one of those issues. Lesson 4, we'll narrow that list down to the issues that you should focus on. And then lesson 5, we'll take all of the learnings from those exercises that we did in hashing out all those different issues. We'll take all those learnings and scrunch them down into some very clear ways of articulating where you stand on issues, who you are as a person, the values that you have, your morals, your principles. All of that stuff's going to come together into, by the end of this chapter, by the end of lesson 5, a really tight, brilliant campaign slogan. Something that's just mind-blowingly brilliant, like Stronger Together, or We Like Ike, or Make America Great Again. Nope, never mind. Strike the last one. Not brilliant. Don't like it. Don't use that. So, very excited to jump into this chapter with you guys in Lesson 1, Electoral Dynamics. So just know these are big, meaty lessons. So grab yourself a cup of coffee and get ready. So excited to actually dive into the meat of this thing with you. Thanks.